right, well, getting started on our session 0, I would like you to just introduce your character as much as you can. I'll try to ask questions, fill in gaps, and stuff like that.
Okay, so my character is Gronknag Vagan-Smith. He is a male half-orc. He's 20 years old. He is a little bit smaller than the rest of his family. He's considered the runt of the family. So his mother is an orc. She is the fighter of the family. He gets most of his attributes from his mother's side. His father is an alchemist, and he is human. And he has 2 sisters. One is
Katasha, which is more to your mother's side, correct?
right. She's higher up in the military for Oxlin.
Yes, which is the country that you were from, correct?
Correct. So he has desires to be more like both parents. He wants to be a fighter like his mother, but he also wants to be smart like his father. And he sees that both of his sisters take after one or the other parent. He wants to be smart, he wants to be tough, and he wants to prove himself, especially because he is the smaller of his family. He's always been not overlooked, but they've always treated him just slightly different.
And you are the youngest of the 3, correct?
He is the youngest of the 3,
Yeah,
yes.
you have 2 older sisters.
And they pick on him a lot,
Yeah.
as most older siblings would do.
And Katasha, the definitely more fighter type of your sisters, and the oldest. You also have Alazura. She takes more after your father, correct?
Correct. She's more of the alchemist,
Right.
taking after his intellectual aspirations.
And I believe when you talk to me, Katasha definitely looks more orcish, and Alazura looks more human of the 2.
Yeah, I mean they're both gonna have half orc traits. They're gonna have traits from both sides, but Katasha's gonna be a little bit more rugged, more orcish, and Alazura is gonna be softer features,
Right.
like more human-like.
Okay. One interesting thing that you talked to me about is your family, typical to, I guess, most D&D starting families, is not a broken home.
It is not. It is far from it.
And your parents are actually particularly affectionate towards each other.
A lot of fucking PDA.
Right.
Like they're to the point where they're just grotesque about it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're living in this household. Both of your older sisters are succeeding in their own endeavors, and you were never as smart as Alazura, and you were never as strong as Katasha.
Right.
And Katasha's gained the most, I guess, fame for what she's
Notoriety,
been doing.
I guess.
Yeah, like she's worked her way up the military chain. Alazura is a little bit more under the radar, just being an alchemist. Not like, most people don't go to alchemists for anything unless they need something specific. But they both have been doing very well, and they both chose very early on what they specialized in, and you haven't specifically kind of chosen per se.
Yeah, and that's mostly because he wants to do it all.
Right.
Like he is basically a self-proclaimed jack of all trades,
Okay.
but he hasn't really mastered anything at all.
And so I guess the inciting incident, because, I mean, you are leaving home. This has kind of been decided amongst your family, and, like, you've talked to everybody.
Yeah, the family and I have basically decided that it's time to venture out. It's time to find out what my role is supposed to be and make something of my life instead of just like trying to find out and not really succeeding in much of anything.
Right.
He needs to actually go out and do. He needs to succeed in something.
Right. So your mother and your father have fronted the money for you to make a trip down to Tristalin, which you've never been there. It's probably just shy of a week of traveling south by the river. It is kind of a neutral state. On this continent, there are 3 different countries, and Tristalin is kind of their meeting point. With your knowledge of history, that there was there have been several battles kind of fought in this area, but for a few centuries, they've been neutral here.
So is it almost like the 3 corners of the countries?
Yes. And again, with your knowledge of history and kind of war, you do know that there are 3 different rivers that meet here, which creates kind of a central trade flow and kind of a natural border. Now, the southern border of Oxland, the country you're from, is surrounded by a mountain range, and just outside of that mountain range is Tristalin. To the eastern side is Kilbia. It's a lot more forested, a lot more uncultivated, more swamp than plains. And then to the western side, that is Thenrar. And that is the quintessential, I would say, eastern seaboard of America. That is the plains, moderate, like temperate forests, rivers that flow normally, that sort of thing. Travels a lot easier on that side. Again, you're coming from Oxland. It's a little bit more of a tougher region. This is more of the middle America. Is a little bit more nutritious than, New Mexico or Arizona. But there's more forests and stuff like that. But it definitely does have regions that have kind of that burnt orange dirt and desert, and not necessarily covered in trees and snow, kind of mountain ranges, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, you've been arranged for travel to Tristalin, which is kind of the neutral grounds. You do know every few years they do meet for a kind of a peace summit in Tristalin, just to kind of talk out issues. If they ever have to have a council, this is kind of their UN of these 3 nations.
So the Bilderberg group.
Pretty much. And so they've arranged travel. You are going to be coming in pretty much right as long as your ship takes on its normal course. You'll be showing up right before their Harvest Ends festival. And your family, with the contacts it does in the military, thinks they should be able to get you at least some work from there. And they think a festival is probably a good chance for you to figure out where you want to go, because this is a good branching off point to almost anywhere.
Okay.
On the day of your departure, you were woken up very gruffly, and you were woken up by a familiar face, and this has happened many times in your past, although it's probably been 5 years since this sort of awakening has happened. But you wake up to your sister Katasha, who you have not actually seen in several months. She's been off basically qualifying for her promotion, and you knew she was coming back, but you did not expect to be woken up at the bright early 6:30 a.m. to her just basically shaking you awake and being, "All right, brother, it's time to test ya."
Oh, what?
And she reaches up and she slaps you across the face. And
Shit!
Come on, Gronky. It's time to go.
He's gonna gingerly get out of the bed. All right, where are we going?
You want to go? You want to go escape, right? You want to go adventure? You want to go off on your own, right? Today's the day.
I mean, I thought I wasn't leaving until tomorrow.
Nah, it's tonight. Didn't you
Shit.
hear? And as you gingerly get up, she kind of shoves you and starts pushing you towards your clothes and trying to gather your shit as fast as possible.
All right, I'm going.
All right.
He's going to get dressed kind of quickly so it's not like half tucked in shirt.
All right. I'll meet you in the courtyard.
What do I need to bring?
The weapons will be out there, brother. I've missed this.
I hate this.
I know. It's my favorite. And Katasha will leave the room.
Okay, I guess I'm not going to need anything, so I'm going to follow.
All right. As you make your way,
as little brothers usually do.
yes. As you make your way into the courtyard, you do see Katasha standing there. I mean, she's got a blunt-edged axe used for sparring.
Okay.
And she's also got a shield in her other hand. And then you do notice on her back, she does seem to have some kind of hooked pole arm. It doesn't looks like it might be useful for stabbing, but there is definitely kind of a hook coming off to a side. And you know that this is definitely something primarily used for tripping or disarming an opponent.
All right.
Down on the opposing side of the courtyard is an array of weapons, some quick to put on, like leather armor if you want it, shields if you want it. There's basically all the training instruments that y'all been using for years. So it's all available to you, whatever you choose to pick up.
I'm going to... I'll tell you what, I'm going to grab a battle axe and a warhammer.
Okay.
Well, obviously the sparring version of these two weapons.
Yeah, you know from experience with these, the warhammer is definitely much thinner than the one you actually use when you choose to fight for real. It kind of has more weight. It has a lot more weight in the wood towards the tip. It's been intentionally designed to be fatter at the tip with the wood. Definitely blunted. Obviously, as a warhammer would be. But the metal part is a little bit smaller. But the weight's almost equivalent. And then the axe is blunted, definitely more prone to chipping and stuff. It's not a high quality made weapon. It's meant for sparring and taking a ton of damage. It's kind of thicker. Katasha looks at you and says, all right, brother, let's go. And let's roll initiative.
That's a 7.
All right. She got
she gets the better of me, apparently.
She has an 18 modified. So
I would
she
say
goes first.
she goes first.
All right. She is, you know what? She's going to rush you. She's going to take a swing. Does a 22 hit your armor class?
Surprisingly, no.
You notice that she's currently carrying a longsword. You've seen her use them before. It's not typically what she wears, but she's used it against you before. And you've kind of gotten in the past that she might use it to kind of train with a longsword to also practice against you. This is all non-lethal damage. Mm-hmm. We're going to use hit point tracks as normal, though. You will take 6 points of damage, and then it is your turn.
Okay. So as she hits me, I'm going to stumble just a little bit and kind of not sidestep, but like instead of being square to her, I'm going to be more like perpendicular. And then I'm going to reach for the battle axe and go for the legs.
Go for it.
That is a modified 20.
That hits. Roll damage.
That is a 6 plus 5, so 11.
Nice. She is going to disengage using her action, and then she is going to action surge and attack you. As she steps away, she kind of quickly hooks her sword onto her belt and pulls out that pole arm, and she's going to try and attack you with that. That's a 19. 5 points of damage, and then she's going to try and trip you. All right. She does an additional 6 points of damage and make a DC strength save.
So that is a 22.
22. All right. You are successfully not tripped.
Nice.
And she kind of looks at you, and as she's kind of stabbed with this kind of wicked spear looking item, kind of glancing through your armor. It kind of cut a little bit more than it was probably supposed to.
Well, because she takes this shit seriously.
Yes, she does. And as you feel a little bit elated, like, oh, this didn't quite stab, through my gut like it probably should have, but it definitely tore some of your skin off, more than blunt weapons usually do. And then as it comes up to try and hook underneath your feet, you manage to catch her withdrawal motion before she does it, and you kind of manage to step out of the way.
Hey, I'm going to tell Mom.
Oh, you're going to go crying again?
Well, I mean, don't pick on me.
I never picked on you, brother.
And I'm going to jab her in the sternum with the battle axe. Not the pointy side, but like the blunt side of the battle axe. I'm going to just like ram it into her sternum.
Okay.
That is a 19? No. I'm sorry, 17.
That does hit in her training gear.
So that is 13.
Okay. 13.
Yeah, I rolled max.
Nice. I mean, typically you're not swinging with the battle axe end of it, but for definitely a sparring match, I'm going to let this slide. And as you hit her in the sternum. You actually aim a little bit lower than you intended, and you manage to kind of wind her, like kind of hit that bottom part of your lungs. Mm-hmm. She kind of oh. Well, then
I'm sorry.
All right, brother. Catch me if you can. And she actually disengages and starts running towards the other end of the courtyard, towards the dining hall, and manages to basically pull the door open and just barely slip inside before you're able to chase her.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to follow, but I'm going to kind of be concerned that it's a trap. Can I roll like an insight to see like if I can tell like if she's trying to lead me somewhere for a purpose?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
That's a 10.
Okay, on a 10, like you've sparred with your sister enough times. Katasha doesn't just do open field combat. She is very aware that combat occurs in other areas, and you've wrestled her, in the living room. You've had scuffles outside of open combat, and you feel like maybe she's taking this outside of just blow to blow. And so she's going into a close quarters area.
Okay, so then I guess I'm going to follow up to the door and then kind of like peek in the door and try to see if I can see something coming.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check.
15?
With a 15, you notice that this isn't the normal like accoutrement of y'all's dining hall. This is kind of looks like roughly put together tables and stools. Some of the chairs look like scrap, kind of put together to be, looks like something somebody could sit in, but it wouldn't be comfortable and it might not hold them up. But it definitely looks breakable. And that's the end of your turn, essentially.
Okay.
Katasha, you do hear her moving with your perception check. Does appear like she's moving farther into the room. Then it comes back to you.
Okay, what are you doing? I'm going to find you, and I'm going to start like trying to sneak around.
Okay, you want to give me a stealth check?
Yeah.
Give me a stealth check with disadvantage, because, I mean, she knows you're coming into the room.
Well, I mean, disadvantage is means that I have to roll better than a 3 on the first roll. But let's just check to make sure I don't get a natural 1.
Okay.
That's a 17.
All right.
I'm not so stealthy. I mean, that's a modified 6, but still not much of anything.
Yeah, you stealth into the room, and as best as you can tell, you're about as sneaky as you can be, but you also kind of assume that she knows you're coming.
I would say so.
And kind of move probably about 15 to 20 feet inside the room, looking around, and you do notice your sister on the opposing side of the dining hall. And she kind of looks at you. You've always got to look for traps, brother. And you notice her pull a string.
Oh, shit.
Give me a perception check.
Yeah, that's a 2.
All right.
Plus.
You do not see the crossbow bolt coming for you. Therefore, it does have advantage on the attack. It's the 13 hit you?
My armor class is 13.
Meets beats. So it does hit you. However, it is a modified bolt, and with no dexterity modifier to it, it's a blunted bolt. It's not supposed to pierce you or anything. 3 damage.
Okay.
Come on, Gronky. I thought you were better than this. You want to go live out on your own outside the family, you little runt?
He's going to get kind of agitated with that one.
Yep.
All right. He's going to throw the axe at her. How far is she?
She's about 20 feet away.
20 feet? Okay. He's gonna throw the axe and charge her at the same time.
Okay.
So that is not good. So I rolled a 4 plus for an action.
Your proficiency plus your strength. Well, for throwing dex. Well, no, it's a strength weapon because you're throwing it.
Okay, so then with a 4, my strength is plus 7.
With your proficiency.
Yeah.
An 11 does not hit.
Okay.
However, if you do want to, you do have action surge, correct?
Yes, and that's what my next move was going to be.
Okay. Do you have second wind? You have second wind.
I do have second wind.
Is that a bonus action?
It is 1 bonus action.
Would you like to do that? I don't know how low you are on hit points, but
yeah, no, I'm definitely using the action surge, and I'm also going to be using the second wind.
Okay. I mean, do that in the order you like. So you basically rush forward and you throw your axe, and it just kind of distracts Katasha off to the side as it just swings past her shoulder and clanks against the wall.
I'm going to lower my shoulder and just go right for the sternum again.
Okay. You're doing an unarmed strike to her chest?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is a 10 plus 7, so 17.
17 will hit, yeah.
Okay. So it is a 1d6, I think is...
I think it's a d4.
Well, it has damage, bludgeoning for 6.
For an unarmed strike?
For unarmed strike.
Go for it.
Okay. That is a 6.
All right. Punch her for 6.
And then I am going to...
Second wind.
Second wind.
D10 plus your fighter level, I believe?
Yes, once per short rest.
Nice.
You can use a bonus action to regain 1d10 plus 2.
Okay.
Nice. Rolled a 7, so that's 9.
9 hit points back. All right. As you basically slug her in the sternum, as she's still kind of winded from the last time you hit her. She's not super happy about that.
Fuck it. She called me runt.
She looks at you. Very well, ugly. Time to make your face even better. And she'll basically kind of grab you and try to headbutt you in the face.
Okay.
Basically doing an unarmed strike. That's a natural 4. You notice she moves a little bit quicker than she used to, or that more than she was before. And you've seen times like up until this point, like you notice that she's been fighting you kind of cautiously, and now she's going a little bit more all out and she's going to be using the extra attack feature to attack you a second time.
Okay.
After her headbutt misses, she basically turns and like swings her head around to the side of your neck. She's going to try and take a little bit of a bite.
So no.
All
right. So that comes down to me.
Yep.
As she tries to take a chunk out of my jugular, I guess. I'm going to sidestep it and try to sweep her legs out from under her.
Okay. Give me an athletics check.
Okay. That is a 16 plus 7.
She is at an 18 plus.
I got a 23.
She matched it. I mean, it's meets beats, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I guess as he sweeps her feet from under her, he's going to just elbow drop her right in the sternum.
All right, go ahead. I'll say that the trip was a bonus action in this instance.
Well, I mean, I figured that it would be one fluid motion.
Yeah, I'm not giving you advantage for her being prone or anything like that.
No. Okay, so do you want me to roll again for the elbow drop, or do you just want me to roll?
Yes, roll the hit on the elbow drop. Like you successfully tripped her. You're not necessarily getting advantage on it, but you're basically trying to combine it all into one move. Like you used your bonus action for the trip.
Okay. That is, I mean, it would be unarmed, so 18?
18 hits. Go for it.
Oof. That's 1 damage.
All right. On her turn, she's going to, Katasha will grunt to be, thought this fight would be better than this. You've always got to use your environment, brother. And she's going to attempt to trip you. So give me an athletics or an acrobatics, whichever is higher. She has a 22.
Yeah, that's going to be my 15.
All right. She's going to trip you with essentially her bonus action. But in that process, she's also going to, rather than try and attack you, she's going to grab your feet and then kind of swing you once around and throw you onto a table.
Okay.
Give me a strength saving throw.
That's a 13.
It's a natural 20.
Fuck.
So for her athletics check, she's going to basically kind of Zangief you around a little bit. And like,
I would say so.
Yeah. Slam you against the table. You will take 1d4 damage. 4 damage. And she has used her bonus action or action, so she is done. She will move farther into the corner of the room.
Okay.
So she's probably got about 20 to 25 feet on you.
Okay. As he like crashes into the table,
you do also notice like the table crumples underneath you. It is not a well-built table. Like it is very rough.
And so am I prone at this point? Do I need to take an action to stand or anything?
It will take half your movement to get up. Standard from getting up from like a trip attack. She just basically used her attack to kind of toss you into the table.
Okay.
And move you a little bit.
So then I guess I'm going to get up. I'm going to notice that there's some broken pieces of table.
Yeah, it's all around.
Yeah. And I'm going to take fairly large piece and I'm just going to throw it at her.
All right. Give me.
I'm not aiming for her head or anything. I'm just aiming like kind of torso-ish area.
Okay.
I'm not trying to like blind her or something.
Right. Okay. You're just trying to clunk her and distract her a little bit.
Fuck.
Natural.
That's
one.
a natural 1.
Okay. Still have half of your movement.
I'm going to move back 15 feet.
Okay.
And so that makes her at 40 feet away?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay.
Just as you're moving, she manages to cut. Now that you've seen her cut the rope, you notice that there were several ropes tying to the same kind of weird contraption where usually y'all have kind of a decent lighting situation. There are some it's wooden wheels with candles sitting on top of them, and she drops 3 of them down into the room all at the same time. But as you were moving out of the situation, you managed to dodge them all. Oh, getting used to this, aren't you, brother?
A little, yeah. I mean, we've been doing this for how long now?
Too many years for you to still be at home, baby boy. And then you notice that she reaches outside I mean, y'all have windows sitting inside this eating hall. She reaches outside and she manages to pick up what looks to not be like a training weapon. It looks to be an actual like longsword.
Okay. Makes me a little concernicus.
That's the end of her turn.
Okay. So if I roll a perception check,
Okay.
is that going to take my action?
Depends on what you're trying to perceive.
I'm trying to perceive all these little traps that she has set up.
I will count that as your bonus action to kind of look around the room a little bit more thoroughly.
Okay. That is a 19 plus 3.
Okay. You notice that all the furniture in here is not what your family standardly uses. And on top of the kind of weird candelabras that she dropped down, and you're starting to figure out that she's designed this as specifically kind of a close quarters combat situation for you. And I mean, this has cost her 50 to maybe 100 gold to set up this room. Like nothing's well made. It's designed to set up barroom brawls or close counter dungeons. Like she's just definitely testing you outside of fighting you in open combat is kind of what you're gathering.
Okay.
But that's most of the the only really trap you see, I guess, would be the candelabra thing and the fact that I guess the tables and the chairs are definitely not designed to be sat in. Primarily, like they look like they'll buckle almost under any weight.
What do I do with this knowledge? All right, I guess I'm gonna grab a chair next to me.
Okay.
And just toss it her way.
All right.
I'm taking every opportunity I can to just cause as much
disruption
as
possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a roll. It's going to be with disadvantage at the distance she's at.
Okay. So 14. Okay, yeah, the 14 is going to be it because I rolled higher.
14 will actually hit her. Yeah.
All right. So what would that be? It's just a chair. So I'm assuming
just do like a D4 plus strength. I mean, these are things that are designed to bust apart.
Yeah. So 1 plus 7, so 8.
1 plus 7.
My strength. My strength modifier without proficiency. So
yes. Yeah, it's just your strength.
It'd be a 6.
Okay. Wait, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 1.
You rolled a 1, so you add your strength modifier,
which is plus 5.
So 6. Okay. Yeah. All right. There we go. Weirdly enough, this is probably one of the best chances you've ever actually had. Like you're seeing your sister a lot more winded than she usually is. And she thought she had control of the situation from the get-go. And you see a lot of actual anger in her eyes. Like she always kind of toys with you. She looks mad, like genuinely mad. And she's now brandishing what looks to be like a real weapon.
What's the matter?
Oh, just, the color purple gets me angry. And she rushes towards you. She hasn't called you like purple skin in like a decade. Like your parents were very against that. But just with how angry she is right now.
She just doesn't give a fuck.
She does not give a fuck. Yeah, I mean, you've got her like just under half hit points. And just think that of her baby brother. And she's not okay with that. Especially since she set up trap rooms and she had you on the ropes from the get-go. Yeah. So she's going to rush you with her actual longsword.
Okay.
However, you are outside of her range.
Yeah. I was 40 feet away.
Yeah. So she does have to use her movement and her action to get to you.
Okay.
So she can't on-attack this round, but she is up in your face now.
All right. I'm going to try to disarm her.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be hit with a fucking longsword.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a strength check.
All right. Well, for now, we're going to say it's...
Hold on a sec.
I'm going to say for now, it's going to be an opposed athletics, and she gets to choose acrobatics or athletics.
Okay. That is a 17.
She rolled a 16.
Yes.
Well, she rolled a 16.
Fuck.
Yeah, with her proficiency alone, she's at a 19. So,
okay.
You do not disarm her. Do you want to try anything with your bonus action or your move?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to calm her down a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Time out.
She'll pause for a half second for you to...
We don't need to kill each other.
It's not about killing, it's about surviving. Come on, Gronky.
Okay, but look, you've got an actual sword. I don't.
You will learn so much leaving home. And she's going to try and trip you. It's a 16 to hit.
Yeah.
All right. She's going to roll 8 damage and make a strength saving throw if you're still up.
So that 8 damage is exactly how much I had, but I have relentless endurance.
Okay.
So when you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed, you can drop to 1 instead once per long rest. So I'm going to use that.
So as she brings her blade down, it's definitely towards your legs, and she cuts a decent chunk out of your hamstring. Not like hampering you, but like, I mean, she definitely like slices you more than you have been doing this entire sparring match. Like, it's been mostly y'all bruising each other at this point. This hurts a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And it manages to kind of like take you to a knee and like you kind of fall back. Describe how your relentless endurance works, bringing you back to 1 hit point.
So, I mean, I'm just going to get pissed off.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you know that just dumb strength that you get whenever you're pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what's going to happen here. He's going to feel pain in his leg, and then that's just gonna piss him off.
All right, so I mean, you hit a knee and you start to buckle down. You put an arm underneath you, and you're like, "No, fuck this!" And like you get back up and you're ready to fight again.
Yes.
All right. What would you like to do?
As I'm coming up off of a knee, I'm gonna just fucking uppercut her right in the jaw.
All right, do it.
And that is a 13.
That does not
womp.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to do?
I guess once I just miss, I'm going to just kind of stumble forward a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you kind of graze her face just a little bit. Like, it definitely doesn't connect. It's enough to kind of back her off for about a foot, but she's looking back at you. And then, back to fisticuffs, are we? And she drops the sword and then just reaches out both hands and tries to headbutt you once more. 16?
Yup.
All right. 16, and I mean, pretty much whatever damage she rolls here.
Yeah.
3 plus 3. All right. So yeah, she headbutts you, and you kind of get disoriented and fall to the ground. You're not unconscious per se, but like you're definitely out of it for like the next like 15 minutes. Yeah, like you're didn't quite get a concussion, but it definitely hurt. She looks at you and says, "You'll always be my little pappy." And she kind of like gives you like a weird kiss on the forehead and walks out of the room. And as she's leaving, "See you at dinner."
I'm just gonna fucking groan.
Yeah, it's barely dawn at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so you finished your sparring match with Katasha.
Well, I would say she finished it for me.
Honestly, this is actually one of the closest times you feel like this is one of the best attempts you've ever felt you've had against her since, probably in the past decade. Like when y'all were closer in age, it was a little bit easier. Like when she was, in her middle teens and you were in your just coming up to like 10, like, your sizes were closer now that she's had significantly more training.
Well, I guess there's that.
Yeah. What do you do after she kind of conked you a little bit and like, I mean, you're definitely woozy, like, but it's in a pre-dawn situation. Breakfast is probably in about an hour.
I mean, I would probably be tending to my wound.
Okay.
I guess like just trying to figure out like the best way to heal wounds, because I mean the medicine aspect of it.
Yeah, you're proficient in medicine, right?
I am proficient in medicine.
That's right. You do know it's about an hour before breakfast. It's a little weird that where y'all usually eat breakfast is this weird playtest room that apparently she set up. But you can go across the courtyard and kind of more of a supply closet area that y'all have set up there. Some of it's set up for your dad and your other sister, but there's definitely a section set up for more warfare. You grab some medical supplies. You start tending to your wounds. And yeah, I'll give you probably about a D6. Well, give me a medicine check. We'll see how many hit points you can probably recover. This is also dual.
Is 16 plus 2, so 18.
It's just your proficiency modifier?
Yeah, because my wisdom is a plus 0.
Okay. All right. So an 18. Yeah, go ahead and roll a d8, add a +1.
So then that would be 8.
All right. Yeah, you get most of y'all's combat was subdual, kind of, bruising and battering each other. Some of the crucial moments was, getting hit in the face and getting stabbed, but most of it's, just kind of bruising. So you kind of bandage up the parts that are important. You get those 8 hit points back. And by the end of the day, you'll pretty much be back to full.
Yeah. Well, I think my main focus was where she cut me with her sword.
Yeah, that wound's going to be tender for the next few days, but in general, it's not bleeding out or anything. Like it wasn't a severe wound. It was just kind of.
Yeah, I think my main focus on tending to the wound would be what's the best and most efficient way to heal up and patch up a flesh wound like this. Trying to gain some kind of knowledge as to how to make this go away as quickly as possible.
Okay. It wasn't an obscure wound.
Right, but
you're playing basically trauma. You're rather than doing stitches or anything, you're using a staple gun. You're trying to bandage this up so that the person's whole, not necessarily that it's the cleanest looking thing ever. So yeah, you might have a minor scar from it. It wasn't a severe wound, but it was enough to where you had to bandage it up, and there's definitely some blood. And yeah, this wound in particular, you're holding it enough to actually regain hit points back, but it's going to take you a day's rest to actually get the hit points back.
Okay.
Without, magical healing or that sort of thing. And yeah, that takes you probably the better part of the hour to breakfast. And you are summoned to the main antechamber. Y'all do have a few servants that kind of work the grounds that y'all live in. And one of them comes up to you and Master Gronknag, breakfast is awaiting you in the main antechambers. Sorry about the new location.
Yeah, I know. It's not your fault. It's fine.
Yes, sir. The rest of your family is awaiting you, sir.
All right, thanks, Jeeves.
It's not my name. My name's William.
Are you sure? I thought it was Jeeves.
It is Williams James, and then I have adopted your last name, Smith, sir. But I would appreciate if you called me William when you could, sir. Yes. Sorry. Breakfast is waiting you, and he scuttles off.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go to breakfast.
All right. You show up, and it is Katasha's not there currently, and neither is your other sister, Alwazara. Your mother and your father are, and breakfast is awaiting.
So I'm going to limp in, being a little bit over dramatic about the wound that I took.
Okay.
To try to get some kind of sympathy points.
All right.
Although I know that it's never worked in the past, really, but...
It works to an extent in the past. Neither of your parents are very... They let you be children to a point, and they say you all need to grow up. They both have different perspectives on that. But, yeah, as you kind of stumble in, the first one to notice you is your mother. She walks in. Oh, I knew that idea with Katasha was a terrible one. Come over here.
Gronk's gonna limp over to her.
Yes, let me see you. Kind of looks you over and, oh yes, bruised there. She looks like she bit you in the neck. But she didn't break the skin. That's good. All right. And oh, she actually stabbed you.
Yeah.
Well, she can be quite a bitch sometimes.
She's a hag.
Now, don't talk about your sister that way. Not all the time, at least. Say it outside of my company. And your dad kind of takes notice and says, boy, you definitely took a few knocks there, I can see. Well, can maybe get you some poultices or something to hopefully make that go away a little bit quicker, alleviate your soreness. Oh, she did stab you. Honey.
I'll be okay.
Well, of course you will. Always survived your sister's torments.
Speaking of, well, where's Al?
Well, she said she was working on something for you. She wanted a surprise going away present. I didn't feel it necessary to bother her. She should be there. She did say around dinner time. But, she's up in the workshop. She's working, and I don't know. I assumed Katasha would be here. We all wanted to wish you, well, the happiest of days.
Yeah, Katasha really wanted to wish me a happy sending off.
She loves you in her own way, I suppose. You always were the little one.
Okay, hold on. Let's not go down that road.
Well, of course, we're not going down that road. You're going down the river path. You're going down the burning rush. Oh, you meant metaphorically. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dad. The metaphor, not the actual gravel road.
Your dad's smart. I didn't say he was wise.
So what's for breakfast?
And so as breakfast is brought out to you, it's bacon, eggs, some ham. It's actually a much heartier breakfast than is usually served. There's fewer sides, more main entrees for breakfast. And you're not sure which parent kind of sprung for this, but this definitely seems like a much more elaborate breakfast. It's definitely bigger than usual. And after you're about 3/4 of the way done, Katasha does come down and join you. She looks very much better bandaged than you do. She looks like she was properly tended to try and mend any cut scrapes she has to maintain her appearance. And since she does have to go back to the capital soon, as she joins you, she is primarily fairly quiet for her at breakfast, but she doesn't say a lot. She comes down, greets your mom and your dad, and looks at you. Brother, good job this morning.
Thanks.
Still a squirrel. Looks into her breakfast and starts eating it ravishly.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know squirrels could take your breath away.
All I knew about squirrels is they just really know how to hide their nuts. She just continues eating, looking at you bitterly. As breakfast draws to a close, your mother and your father just say, "Oh, son, the day is yours. We were hoping to have a farewell dinner." And your mother cuts in, "Oh, well, honey, we wish you the best. You are all packed, correct?"
Maybe?
Well, get on it. I didn't raise a slouch.
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly what I need.
Well, you're going to need rations, something that can travel for days. We'll set that up for you. I mean, we've been working on this. You've got rope, correct?
Do I have rope? Yeah, I've got rope, Mom.
Don't snark at me, boy.
Well, don't ask dumb questions.
I asked if you were packed, and you went, "Oh, I don't know. I'm a dumb idiot."
Yeah.
Get your bag packed, say goodbye to your friends in town, and then we shall meet for a family dinner.
All right, fine.
There we go. That's the boy I raised. She goes off to her chambers. But before she does, she reaches over to your dad, kind of leans over and whispers something in his ear. And like you've seen more than 1,000 times in the past, she kind of reaches her hand down and kind of gropes his upper thigh, lower buttocks, and kisses the side of his neck and goes off to her room.
Mom, it's breakfast. We're eating.
Well, if you puke it up, honey, you can just eat it again.
I doubt it.
I get more nutrients that way. As she goes off, Dad plays along for about 30 seconds and then definitely follows your mom.
He's going to turn to Katasha.
So what do you think they're doing?
I don't know. Give me a perception check.
16.
That was an out of character and in character joke. These walls aren't made of paper.
Thank God.
But damn near. Too bad you got the room closest to theirs, baby brother.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about it.
I was. Go get your stupid task done. I'll see you bottom half of the day.
He's going to eat a couple more handfuls of like bacon and ham all in once, and he's going to go off and get packed.
All right. I'm assuming during the day, like you're packing up your explorer's pack.
Yeah.
The weapons you're actually to bring, that sort of thing.
He's going to definitely pack his little self-drawn family portrait.
Yes, which that was a portrait you've drawn of your family.
Yeah.
Kind of a keepsake for the road.
Yeah, of me, mom, dad, the sisters, in like some goofy pose as he would hope that his family really was, but being the runt and being the one that's always picked on, it's usually not like that. Although it's not always, the way that it seems.
That idealistic family of 2 older sisters and a brother, and how you want to view them, and it just never usually pans out that way. Most of your packing stuff, I mean, you come down, everybody kind of eats dinner at their own time, or lunch at their own time. I mean, you probably haven't out from we'll say 2 to 6 p.m. as kind of free time after packing. If there's anything you want to do, you don't have to do anything.
I'm trying to think if there would be something productive to do.
There's not a lot productive you could do in this instance. This would be anything you'd necessarily want to do flavor wise.
So this just kind of springs to mind. I'm sure that I would have a best friend, whether it would be male or female, I don't know. But I would say that I would go to my friend and just tell them bye.
Yeah, I mean, you're not especially close with your sisters. I mean, your family's one of the better to do in this township. So yeah, you had some rough and tumble years with some friends. And
so I would say that they would be outside of my own race.
They are.
Yeah, gender doesn't necessarily matter. I would think probably male, just because he wants some kind of brotherly affection because he doesn't get it from his sisters.
Yeah.
So I would just assume that if he's surrounded by primarily women, he would want some kind of male companionship too, other than his father.
Right. So you leave your family's estate and you go and talk to your best friend, which you feel like you would seek kind of a male companionship, but by the fact that you have 2 sisters and they don't listen to you at all, you actually found a female elf by the name of Mavani.
Spell that real quick.
Mevani, which her father is the local blacksmith. And one day when you were kind of practicing out in the woods about a decade ago, maybe a little bit more, you found she kind of discovered on you trying to practice moves that your sister Katasha just basically walloped your ass with, and she threw a rock, hit you in the head, and then kind of reached in. Well, you couldn't even block that. Then she starts throwing a few more rocks at you, and you start spatting them away, and then as you got to, basically y'all are almost playing baseball with rocks. And then y'all developed a friendship, and she actually became almost more of a sister than they did. She listened when you had to talk. When you your family's you've always felt out of place. She was a person you could talk to. And I mean, she knew enough about warfare and stuff. She knew enough about weapons. She could relate when you talked about Katasha. And then she was never particularly trying to pursue anything outside of blacksmithing, but she knows her father's work enough, but her father wasn't trying to train her to be a blacksmith. And she was taught to read at a young age. She became relatively useful. I mean, she's done courier work. She kind of just helps out around town, but she always makes time for you.
Okay. So where is she right now?
A little after lunchtime. Might be a little hard to track her down. Best chance is probably ask her dad after you do that. He directs you towards the local general store and says, well, she's going to be doing courier work probably until near sundown, but they might be able to tell you where she's going. Track her down for a little bit, and after probably like catch her towards her second shipment after lunch. So it's probably 3 o'clock. You track her down and meet up with her.
Well.
Well, if it isn't you, Gronk.
How you doing?
Just another day, I guess.
So, today's the day.
I always hoped you'd kind of back out, but I always hoped you wouldn't.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. But I have to do what I have to do, I guess.
Well, I was hoping you would stay, but I prepared you wouldn't. If we could return to Papa's shop, there's something I'd like to give you.
Gross.
Not that, you pervert. Oh, ew. I don't know. I don't know what that was.
I wasn't really. I was joking, and then you started going with it, and I was like, okay, yeah, because he wouldn't automatically assume that with somebody who is like his sister. So,
oh, shut up! And she like slugs you in the shoulder, which she can hit. Like that doesn't hurt, but probably hurts a little bit more after this morning. But,
yeah, probably so.
But yeah, she has to return to her father's shop.
All right, yeah, he's gonna go with her.
And she goes in and she comes back out, and she comes back with a rock. Not terribly large. I would say the size of, like the shooter marbles, like the larger marbles.
Yeah.
Probably about that size. And it looks very polished, although kind of plain. Definitely the edges have been smoothed out. Definitely not a valuable rock by any means. It's the one I threw at you so many years ago.
You kept this?
I went and picked it up after you went home. Little crybaby.
I mean, you just started throwing rocks at me. What did you want me to do?
I wanted to play, but keep this with you to remind you of me.
He's gonna kind of toss it up in the air and catch it.
Yeah, I think I can find some space for it.
I should hope so. Just make sure you carry something to stab the bad guys with.
Oh, wait, that's what I need?
Stay safe, Gronky.
Come on, you know me.
Always have, always will. Get out of here. Your family's waiting.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, soon enough. And she gives you a little, peck on the cheek.
Then he's gonna just hug her and then turn around and walk off.
All right. As you return home, all the furniture that's usually in your dining area is actually out in the courtyard. And lights have been assembled. Torches, all that. It's definitely an out-yard barbecue picnic kind of nighttime fiesta.
It's a luau.
Yeah, essentially. And there's several people from town there. You do actually, Mavani does show up about halfway through along with her father. I mean, there's several people in town that are going to miss you, and they all show up. There's probably a grand total of 40 people here. You do notice that your sister, Olazura, still has not made an appearance. Katasha's here. Your mother, your father, the house servants, all that. The meal is as big and lavish as you've seen in your household, but still not necessarily over the top. It's about as good as you've ever seen in your household. Everybody's drinking, celebrating. You do know that you have about 3 hours before your boat ride leaves. But, I mean, most of that's taken up by drinking, talking, eating. Is there anything you'd like to do during the meal?
No, not particularly. I'm sure there are people who are coming up and telling me best wishes and giving me some kind of advice, and I'm just kind of taking it all in. And,
that's catching you left and right. As the meal winds down, a lot of people know you have to go, and it's about a 30-second walk down to the river to catch your boat. Which this is basically you're getting this trip for free because you're choosing to leave at night. This is a very high time for trade, and this is a good time to go. You have a few family connections, and so that's why you're hopping on in the middle of the night. But as you're walking down, you have Katasha, you have your mom, your dad, you definitely have Mavani. Not a whole lot else. There's a lot of people that seen, this is where it becomes private. As you're about to board the ship, unless there's something you'd like to do, nothing in particular. Your sister, older sister? But no, Alazura does come running down. And as we've described before, she's a little bit fairer toned. She's a little bit more humanesque for a half orc. She comes down. She's got a huge bundle on her arms.
I finally caught you. Brother, sorry, I've been working on this all day. I'm going to miss you. Dumb as you are.
That's not polite.
Oh, shut up and hug me.
And she'll hug you. And she has essentially a to-go package for you, which you can open up that later. She definitely looks at you and just,
don't go dying on me.
You know me better than that.
I know, that's why I said it.
Touche.
Dummy.
and she'll give you a kiss on the cheek. Katasha kind of gives you a little bit of a slug on the shoulders.
He slugs her back.
Expect no less. Stay alive.
I'll do my best.
Kind of ruffles your hair a little bit, just to let you know she's still the bigger sister.
Of course she does.
Your mom kind of gives you a big weepy hug. Like, big and strong as she is, she's always been a loving mother, and gives you this hug.
You be a good boy, and stay strong, and come back. I'll miss you terribly.
Yeah, I'll miss you too.
Your dad comes up to you and he gives you a firm handshake. Miserly as he is, like frail as he is.
Well, son, I just wanted to say goodbye and farewell, and be strong, and may your light expose the shadows.
So as he is shaking my hand, I'm going to pull him in for a hug. And then I'm going to whisper into his ear,
"Move Katasha to my room."
I'll see what I can do. She might beat me out of it.
That saying, may your light expose the shadows, that's something you've only ever heard your dad say.
okay,
But it's something he said your whole life. You've kind of, you've seen your mom kind of like acquiesce to hearing it, but it's a goodbye sentiment that he says when he doesn't expect to see somebody anytime soon.
okay. And that's, may your light expose your shadows.
Expose the shadows, not your shadows.
The shadows. That's a completely different quote.
Yes, no, I was tossing between the two when I was coming up with it, but and then you begin to board the boat, and Mavani yells out after you,
Don't forget me, you asshole!
How could I?
Good!
I'm gonna look around the deck and see if I can find a pebble.
there's no pebbles per se. I mean, it's the ship. I mean, even though it's a river-bearing ship, it doesn't pick up a lot on top of the deck.
I mean, there's no like gravel, anything that I could throw at Mavani.
You notice on the sides of the ship there is kind of like a barrel full of rocks. You assume it's to kind of help them anchor themselves if they need to like tow to one side or the other, or to like weigh anchor for the night. It's a bit of a stretch, but you can manage to pick up one of the rocks if you'd like.
Like, I mean, how big is this rock? Not very big, right?
I mean, there's a mixture, but you can find
okay.
find one smaller than a bit. You can find one that's like a golf ball size if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, something around that size.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna chunk it at Mavani.
Okay.
Not to hit her in the head or anything, but like to
toss it at her.
Yeah, playfully tossing it at her.
Okay. And she, you know what? We'll roll to see if she catches it or if it lands next to her.
Okay.
That's natural one.
So she doesn't know what the fuck is happening.
It thunks her in the shin and just kind of like,
That son of a bitch!
Sorry.
better bring me back a diamond next time. Actually, I like sapphires. And like, I mean, your ship's like traveling off in the distance at this point, but you do manage to hear her say she prefers sapphires over diamonds. All right. You are on this ship. You do know this is about a 7-day trip.
It's a long trip.
Yeah, in this world. You were closer to the capital of Oxland, so you're a good chunk of this continent away. Fortunately, you're traveling downstream on a relatively safe trade path, and one of the most protected in the country. So yeah, this is the better part of a week. A week is 10 days, not 7. It's not terribly important. It's just kind of how y'all measure it. Y'all measure it in tens because it makes more sense to you. But as you make your way down the Burning Rush, which is primary river coming out of Oxland, takes you probably about 2 days before you hit your next river town. Goes by the name of Ambal. I mean, you guess it's kind of a medium-sized town. It looks like you can guess to be somewhere between like 800 and 1,200 people here. And they're going to pull over for the night. They have shipments to drop off. It's, they've already made kind of an arduous journey starting at night, kind of working. They did their first day, they did like an 18-hour shift. So they're kind of looking forward to maybe some beds, maybe getting a drink in town. I mean, if there's anything you want to kind of pull aside and do, it's a medium-sized town, if you'd like. I mean, they're departing first light. Doesn't seem to be anything super special about the town at the moment.
Yeah, so he's, I'm sure he has some gold pieces with him.
Did you roll your starting gold?
I didn't. No, it didn't ask me to. So I'm assuming I would have a short rest.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been about 2 days.
Okay, so long rest.
Yeah. I'll give you your family background. We'll just do 10d10. I mean, you can roll them 2 at a time or...
So 53.
Okay. You have 53 gold. You also, if you dig into that package that Alazura gave you, there's a vial of antitoxin that she has crafted.
Okay.
Some incense that we talked about. I think you said cedar or cypress. Or...
Cedar is what I said.
Okay. So you have a vial of cedar and smelling incense that, doesn't activate your hay fever. Is that right? Hay fever? Or just allergies? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
Edit that out. You do find kind of a crummy looking dagger, but it does have your family crest emblazoned into it. And you have a feeling this is probably from Katasha.
Okay.
There's a bar of soap.
Because I got to wash that ass.
And some parchment and ink. And there's a little note. And it says, you better write us back, Squirt.
Okay.
So yeah, you have 53 gold. If you want to spend any of it and ball, you can. There's nothing special here that you couldn't have gotten in your own.
Yeah. No, what he's going to do, he's actually going to go to the bar. He's going to just kind of sit at the bar by himself and make himself feel as much of a just individual as possible. Because, I mean, most of his life has been, like, his family has been surrounding him, and now he's off in the world by himself for pretty much the first time in his life.
Right. Okay. You find a bar called the Tipsy Tankard. It's kind of a very overweight halfling behind the bar. Welcome. I'm Javiathan. Welcome to the Tipsy Tankard.
Thanks. So I'm looking for a drink. What do you suggest?
Well, we do have, I guess your standards. We've got ale, we've got firewater. I like this one. It's nothing special, but I call it minty ice water.
That doesn't sound too special.
You probably had it before, I guess. It's a little bit of a rarity here in Umbal, but feels like my mouth is clean, so I like it.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll take one.
Hit you like a wagon over a fresh-grown field.
And he'll pour you a glass. And it's warm to the taste, but it does have a sense of like mint to it, and a sensation that your mouth is cooler for having drank it, even though it's still like room temperature.
That's interesting.
It's kind of like your mouth had a bath, huh? I don't know. Never had. I mean, I've opened my mouth in the bath before, and it didn't taste that good.
No, it definitely tastes better than that.
Just ask Mavani. I taste better than that. Well, anyway, it's your regular affair here. Do you need a room for the night, or?
No, I'm just passing through.
That's what I told my lunch.
He doesn't get it.
Another one? You know what? This one's on me. Just, yeah.
Thanks. So, my name's Gronknag.
Well, it's good to meet you, Gronknag. I think I ate somebody named Gronknag once. No.
I named a chicken. The butcher killed Gronknag. I passed it yesterday. oh God, don't kill me.
All right.
Anyway, I should get back to work.
He's gonna drink the one on the house.
All right. Yeah, the bartender, realizing his jokes were definitely not falling on you, he's gonna like, I'm gonna go to my regulars, and he'll laugh with them and tell terrible jokes.
So I guess Gronk's just gonna kind of sit there and take in the scenery and watch all the other patrons and just kind of people watch.
Yeah, it seems like a comfortable place. I mean, the bartender's jokes are definitely terrible, but the patrons enjoy them nonetheless. Like, yeah.
Well, probably because they're drunk.
They do. They definitely seem like regulars, but yeah, they enjoy the jokes nonetheless, and it might be part of the charm of why they come here. Like, it's a safe spot, and it's somewhere they can go after work and just kind of take a load off. In this portion of the country, there are more trees and a little bit more vegetation. You do know there's a long stretch farther south that's a little bit more barren. And so this section of the country does have more like lumberjacks and more people kind of using the river as like a mill, like they're the subsidiaries of the river as a mill. And yeah, I mean, they don't do as much refined metal as they do up north where you're from, but they definitely are in kind of the same area of where they're trying to basically refine goods to turn into like finished products.
Okay.
But it's not a huge town. It's a medium-sized town.
So as these people watching, he's going to actually take the dagger that was in the pack and he's going to carve his name into the bar.
Okay. Are you trying to hide the fact that you're doing it or no?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll, or a sleight of hand rather, which I'm sure is probably the same for you, adding your dex modifier.
That's a 6.
Rolled a modified 4.
Yes.
The bartender's definitely distracted, so does not see you kind of just whittling into the side a little bit. What are you whittling?
He's going to carve Gronk into the side of the bar.
Okay. Yeah, probably around the time you get to like N, the bartender's kind of starts swinging back your way and you just barely finish up the keg.
Anything else to get for you?
No, I think that's about it. How much do I owe you?
Let's see for the drink, and I'll put one for you. And I don't know, putting up with me, I'll give you maybe a little bit of a discount. Be 2 silver pieces.
Take out a gold piece and
You got change?
And then he kind of looks at you and kind of looks at the gold piece, and then he does like, he kind of shows the gold coin up to your face and does a really terrible, with his overweight halfling form, does a circle and opens up both hands and the gold pieces in there. He's like, ha, changed it into nothing. Oh God. Okay.
I don't get it.
I'll be back. Yes. He'll come back with your 8 silver and change.
all right, I'm gonna tip him 4 silver.
Oh, okay. He's very, very impressive.
Because he doesn't understand tipping and like.
Yeah, it's
he doesn't understand the money aspect of life. Like
right.
he's just
his
used
family's
to
usually taking care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the owner takes it graciously. You don't really see him do it. He doesn't pick it up until after you're gone. Is there anything else you would like to do in Ambal? I mean, you're probably pushing midnight at this point, at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a long fucking day, so I'm sure he's ready to just go to sleep.
I mean, you've been sleeping on a boat after getting your butt kicked. So. All right, you make it about another day. You get there a few more hours before dusk, but you come to the town of Ular, which you've heard about it primarily from your mother. It's a town along the river that's a little more orcish than most. Still fairly civilized and everything. Definitely allows trade and still adheres to the government procedures. It just predominantly has, historically, I guess, a more orcish population. But it's fairly small. It has somewhere between, I want to say, between 100 and 250 people at, first glance. You can't quite tell how far, farms go out or anything, or how long the farms might go out. But you're guessing minimum of 100.
Okay, and what's the name of the town?
Ular. Ular.
Okay, is there a general store in Ular?
There is.
Like some place that I can pick up maybe a little bit of rations.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. I mean, there's places to pick it up. You can pick it up at the inn. You can pick it up if you want something for the road, the general store. Probably after disembarking, be getting there just around closing time. They have most of the stuff, I would say, out of the player's handbook, essentially. Like, they're probably 3/4 of it. Maybe half to 3/4. It is a small town, but I mean, they're going to have rope, they're going to have shovels, they're going to have food, things like that. Some of this stuff more exotic in the player's handbook. Out of the basic equipment, maybe not. They might have like a long sword, but I mean, you're not looking for weapons per se. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have food and rope, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go and find the store. Primarily, I'm looking for like jerky, just something to snack on.
Something to snack on. Yeah, it's called Get 'em Goods. It's run by a full orc.
So he's going to walk into Get 'em Goods. Mm-hmm. And he's going to kind of browse around the jerky section. And I'm guessing it's probably not like a huge variety, but you would have your typical like turkey and beef.
Yeah, in this region, you have some turkey equivalents, essentially. Probably something a little, to most, would seem more exotic as, emu or, but I mean, it's things a little more desert-ish.
Yeah.
Survival. Some chicken, dried fish, especially with the river. It's a river town. And then some dried fruit and more dried veggies. Probably will keep for a few days. The meat will probably keep for a few weeks.
Yeah, that's definitely what he's going to go for. Is like the dried meats.
Well, howdy. I'm Get 'em. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm going to get some jerky.
All right. Well, we definitely got some drying right over here. Should be good for, I'll get you about 20, maybe 30 days out of it.
All right.
Anything else I can get for you? I mean, just a carnivore, or you want some fruits and veggies to go with you? Or you need anything like some nets or maybe some traps for catching food out in the wild?
Yeah, you know what? I've heard of this thing called trail mix.
Oh, yeah. It's if you take some nuts and some fruit, you might be able to I guess make some mix. It's basically, we just call it a mix bag.
All right, well, give me 2 of those.
Okay, we'll do that.
And as he's like preparing he's gonna carve his name.
Okay.
Into the counter.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
That's a natural 1.
What the fuck? You can look.
Fuck yes.
All right. Let's re-roll.
That's fucking hilarious. You go first this time.
All right, I'll go first this time. That's a 17.
Oh, god damn it.
It's a +2 on his perception. So a 19.
Okay,
so you got to roll
sleight of hand?
Yeah, so you got to roll like a 16 to match.
Nope. Fuck.
All right, you get to about a GR and about halfway through the O. And what you doing?
I'm just documenting where I go.
On my board?
Well, yeah.
How does that help you document? What?
Just so people know. Gronk was here.
Stop carving them to my damn table.
Okay, well, so see...
And as he's like trying to explain, he's still going to start carving even more.
Sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
Okay, that's an 18 plus 3. That's a 19.
Rolled a 2.
Yes.
He's so frustrated, and he just kind of assumes that she'll do what he's saying, and he goes back to what you're, packing up your trail mix. God, freaking idiot. All right, whatever, just get him out of here. Like, you hear him just kind of muttering to himself, and he's backing up everything, and you finished writing out Gronk onto the front of his case a little bit. Comes back, and, all right, it's, you know what, I'll just call it silver for both.
So 1 silver for both? Or 1 silver per both?
Don't make me say per both. Just take 1 silver for both.
Okay, so...
Oh my God, it's a silver for what you want to buy.
Okay, so he hands over 1 silver.
Okay. Yeah, like I mean, he was almost about to lower the price just to get you out of his fucking store. Yeah, and get him's done with you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the boat.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, you depart. Next day, don't really notice too much. It takes you a little bit longer to get to your next town. It's been about 5 days since you originally left, and you finally pull up on the town of Inthra, and it's about the same size as Ular. You notice the orc population isn't as prominent as it was in Ular, but it doesn't seem to be much bigger. It's a little bit more on both sides of the river. You notice there's a little bit more vegetation growing in here. Like when you were coming around Ular, it was a lot more barren. Here, it's a little bit more lively, but not overwhelmingly so. But yeah, as you pull in, I mean, the captain's dropping off goods and making sure they get shipped and let you know they're departing in the morning.
Gross, man.
Yeah, again, you guessing somewhere between 100 to 250 people. It's really hard to say without going out into the community. But
so, is there like a bulletin board out in the middle of the square?
In Inthra, no. You do know that you're probably about a half day's north of what your sister is called Southgate, which is the main transportation route out of your country towards Tristalin. And Southgate is definitely it's one of the stronger outposts that your country has. There's always a few hundred soldiers there, and Inthra's a half day's north. It's just kind of a place where people live north of your southern border. It's not terribly anything they need done. Southgate kind of takes care of most of the time.
Okay. So then is there any like common place, like a park, something similar to that where like they would have gatherings for this small town?
They definitely have a town square and kind of a central meeting hall. Okay. No bulletin board per se. Okay. So like, is there any kind of like statue?
There is not a statue. There is, the best way you could put it is kind of like an elaborate bird bath with, I think the right term's like a pagoda around it. Like kind of a, not quite like a pavilion or anything, but like kind of a small, almost looks like a wedding ceremony place around it. And it looks predominantly made out of wood and like vines.
So like a pergola?
Pergola, that might, yeah. Watch Meet the Parents or whatever, like that little thing that catches on fire in that scene.
Okay, like okay, I know
so,
what you're talking
like
about.
A little bit bigger than that, but not much. And
almost like a small gazebo type.
Yeah, it looks like a small gazebo kind of made out of vines, with the woodwork and vine growing out of it. Looks very much elaborate. The stone basin that actually creates the central focus of this little like mini gazebo looks like just a stone bowl, but you're not really sure what caused this gazebo type area to form. It doesn't look like, it looks incredibly natural and not made.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm doing, right?
Hopefully not cutting it down. You're going to cut your name into it,
I'm going
though?
to carve my name into it.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand check with advantage, and your DC is not going to be very high. I don't even know if you really need to roll. Like, it's not terribly uncommon for, like, couples, I guess, to come.
So I just rolled a 22?
Yeah. No, you do it, and you actually wrote it in, like, cursive for the first time in your life. No, you write it and it's big, it's bold, and it's obvious, and nobody catches on. But yeah, I mean, Gronk was definitely here. On top of writing like Gronk into the basin, you did put like a G into each corner as well.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, the town, it's not large. The inn, whether you want to even call it that, like, I mean, there's definitely a building that has a few rooms for rent. It definitely serves alcohol, but it's probably used to serving 10 to 20 people at a time. It's not an overly large area if you want to spend time here or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the time that I want to spend in each particular area is kind of just people watching, kind of getting the idea of who lives here, what their pace of life really is, just kind of getting as much information as he possibly can.
Okay. In Ambal, you definitely had there was a decent amount of activity. In Ular, people seemed a little bit more rigid. That was a more orcish town. And then Inthra, it's relaxed, not in the sense of like, nobody cares. It's just kind of everybody goes about their own business and doesn't bother anybody too much. As you make your way back to the ship, sleep, make your way coming around somewhere between like 10 a.m. and noon. You make your way to Southgate. Takes you a good hour to get through customs.
Well, you know what I'm doing before I leave the boat, right?
You're staying on the boat.
Okay.
They Southgate is like sanctioned off to stop you from passing through until they check.
Okay, so we're going to continue on past Southgate.
Yes, you're going all the way to Tristalin, which is about another half day past that.
Okay.
Southgate's kind of the customs area of this region because it's, aside from going across the mountains, it's the only way to get to Tristalin.
Okay.
You notice, and you've seen it as you've been traveling south, there is like a road following, and there's a bridge that comes like right through Southgate. Like you have to go across the bridge to basically take a cart south. But for you guys have to go under that bridge, and y'all are stopped by customs there, and they check, make sure everything's, up to par. The captain's pretty much a regular trader. He hands them the standard papers. Everything gets checked out. Pretty standard operations. Nobody causes any problems. They're not rude. They've seen this captain many, many times. It's a combination of dwarves, humans, and orcs at Southgate. Predominantly, you do see occasional gnomes, halflings, tieflings, but they're under 10 apiece, whereas orcs, dwarves, and humans are probably roughly 50 a pop. Like I said, it's probably about 200 troops there total. Another half day south of Southgate, just approaching night, and you finally see Tristalin. So you've seen houses kind of built on stilts, right?
Yeah.
Tristalin's kind of built similar to a house built on stilts, only it's an entire city built on stilts.
Okay.
As you're approaching it, it's a little strange. You're used to a mixture of like wood and stone and clay, bricks and thatch buildings. Tristalin's built entirely out of wood. And it looks, as you're approaching it, you can see lights from a very great distance. Looks like this upper level of Tristalin is, even as you're coming in towards definitely past closing time for most businesses, the upper level is definitely lit up. As you're floating closer towards it, you notice that the road that had gone through Southgate, which had transferred from the eastern side of the road to the western at Southgate, there's a giant ramp, probably about 40 feet wide, that leads up into Tristalin onto its second level. And your ship, as you float towards it, flows under the actual city. While you're at river level, the city is above you. And you're steered towards a docking section, and takes a little bit of time. It's a little harder to navigate at night. And your ship pulls in and pulls up onto the dock. They start unloading pretty much everything that's left on their boat. This is their main area to hit. Tristalin's a major trade center. And welcome to a disembark. There's kind of a rough-looking gnome down at the dock, kind of managing getting all your shipments off.
Well, you know what I'm doing before I get off the boat, right?
Gonna mark the boat.
I'm going to mark the boat.
Nobody on the boat cares.
I'm going to make it big and bold and beautiful.
You're not destroying the integrity of the boat, so that nobody really pays you any mind. Like, there's etchings and notches and, warped wood all over the boat. So yeah, you want to carve your name into it, as long as you're not cutting into the sail or anything. Like they're going to let you hack into the wood unless you're taking an axe to it. So you carve Gronk.
Yeah. Carve my name and then collect my belongings and head off the boat.
All right. You do, as you look around, you notice your ship came in on the second tier, and there are some ramps that go up from here, but there's also a very kind of complex system of elevators that take crates directly from this river level up to the main level.
Okay.
And then yeah, I mean, you're welcome to disembark and go where you like. Nothing really stopping you.
Okay. So I guess my question for you as the DM is like, where is Gronk going to meet up with the rest of the party? Is it going to be here in this city?
Yes.
Okay. So then why don't we just stop it there and just kind of like let him,
Yeah, because it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, just be in the city. And like that's...
So we'll start off for probably a little bit with you catching up to where they are.
Yeah.
Because, this took a little bit longer than I was expecting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked playing out your entire family. So,
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop it there.
I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are Killer Fun. We explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week.
For as long as people have been communicating, they have been talking about the boundaries of society.
Crime and entertainment have always gone hand in hand.
The more salacious
or weird,
the better. From books and movies
to television shows and games,
we look at how life and art imitate and inform one another.
And we can't get together and not laugh. So let's just face it, there's going to be laughing.
Killer Fun is available basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. So join us.
Forge Audio.
Dream it.
Build it.
Share it.